Okay, here I am, guys. Collab. And I ran out of battery, so I'm plugged in right now. So I thought I would just do a little video here and tell you what I've been doing. Well, trying to find a place to live. So I'm heading to St. George, and it's just so pretty. I decided to take Collab Canyon route, and I bought me a season pass for the year, which, if it's something I do a lot, I only have to pay an extra $60 for a lifetime season pass. I know years ago it was so cheap for a lifetime season pass for seniors, and I didn't do it. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. It helps the parks, right? So I want to tell you my experience. Now, I'm struggling with, everybody knows I'm having trouble with Wi-Fi, cellular Wi-Fi. I started having trouble with 4G living under the tower in Medford. And, you know, with all the shielding I've been doing in my house and on my head and stuff, I've been able to combat it pretty good. And the herbs have had enough time and enough shielding to help me to get more functional again, a lot better. So I do have some things that I've learned through this experience, and one is that if you've noticed you have more pain since 2001 to 2002, because everybody flipped the switch with 5G different time frames, okay? Chai flipped the switch during the height of CV19er. Okay, and I talked to you about how my chiropractor had a good friend who was setting up Wuhan with this 5G. Every block they were putting up boosters and everything. And when they flipped the switch on, people started dropping like flies right on the street. Pretty suspicious. We were watching it, and now this chiropractor was telling me that his friend, they called the Defense Department, who was responsible for putting in 5G in Wuhan. Isn't that just an interesting, strange thing? So they said, we need to turn it off. The people who put it in said, we need to turn it off. It's killing people right now. And the Defense Department said, no, you let us worry about that. You're done. You know, I might have added that one. And so, makes you curious if in 1916 through 17, when everybody in the world got all of the massive big towers you see today, they finally got them all wired across the world for communication. And everybody was promoted to get a radio, so because then the president can give messages, and you could have convenience of knowing the news right away on the radio. And Dr. Lee Merritt did the research on it after they found out how bad things were with these electrical towers, which, you know, I think that there's a fine tuning that can be done on some of these things to be a healing hertz frequency, but we haven't had good people ruling the world for a long time. So when Dr. Lee Merritt was doing research on the Spanish flu, she found that all of the cowboys, the farm boys, the very fit, hard-working guys went to work to put up the power lines before they knew and understood you should shield from radio towers, radiation towers. You should shield from them. So she said that age group, that young age group of 18 to 24, somewhere around there, it's been a while since I've heard her report, so I might not be precise on that, but that was where more of the deaths happened than anywhere else, was from that young age group of men. And what did they do this time? Push the athletes to get the stingy thingy because of some biological bad thing that Dr. Fraudchi was having produced in woohoo, chichai, okay? So here we are today, where so many people, some people got sick that I knew in 2020. And after the fact, probably a brother-in-law probably had it, a friend of my son's probably had it, and a guy in my ward got it really bad. Okay, those three got it really bad. So some doctors said they think they were treating people, and we know it was kind of released around the military games. Cha thinks and blames our Defense Department, which ulterior motives in people who want control of the world. So here we are now with it. They start getting it and they have the worst. And then I do believe it was like Spain was next. So the thing to do would be to follow the history of infection from this thing and adoption of 5 Godzillas. Okay, that would be the thing to do. And see if they're correlated. Okay. So now we're rolling forward, and I found out we got all of our radio towers were changed out for microwave energy towers. Okay, radio frequency is not good for us, but it is way less problematic for most people and their health. Microwave energy towers are 2.4 gigahertz, the same as your microwave oven, which cooks things from the inside out. And we don't have the door over these towers to protect us from this. So they flipped the switch about the end of June or first part of July on my tower, because it was the day before they were turning it on. I said, hey, I'm doing a lot of research here and I don't have 5G on all my devices. Are they gonna turn this on soon? So she said, okay, I see where you're at. I can see where you're at, and they're turning that on tomorrow. And so that's when I was already getting sick from 4G. So I was getting saturated because I was hiking up and down the hills, and I even did Roxanne twice, and I got really shaky and weak. Lots of tremors when you get close to these towers, especially people, like I have nerve damage in my left ear from birth. So possibly I became more susceptible. But now I'm seeing effects on cousins or nieces and friends, and people complaining of all the symptoms that I had, that my nieces had, that now my friend, my herbalist friend has had. So roll forward now to where I learned how to shield myself and what herbs to take to help me with that. And Dr. Lee Merritt had said she worked on someone who'd been jabbed, and then she got profuse bloody nose that would not stop. So she had someone go to the pharmacy and get her ivermectin, quercetin, zinc. All of this happens, and it's like things happen to show me the path I need to take, because I was getting really bad bloody noses. Shortly after she experienced it, I figured out, okay, that's where my bad bloody noses are. They had kind of started early on. And so it would have been in 2021 when the jabs had been released, and that's when the bloody noses started. But I was already getting whooshy vertigo. I guess that's what the chiropractor called it when he saw me. He said, oh, you got vertigo, huh? And I says, is that what it is called? So, it's like I was wondering if that's what it was called. So so now here I am traveling, and there's Wi-Fi everywhere. Now I made the trip fine. When I was really saturated, the trip up to Utah was so devastating and painful in this side of my head, and I couldn't walk straight. I couldn't think straight. My eyes were not working the way they were supposed to work. And this is what some of these symptoms are from people who supposedly have long COVID. I wonder if long COVID has to do with what they put in it, the stinger, what they put in the stinger to make it receptive to not just, cellular Wi-Fi towers, but possibly electricity in your house. And if you get saturated enough, even something might still impact you because of the EMFs that come off of them. And if you get oversaturated, you can get sick, which I'm recovering from pretty good. I'm loving this drive up Kolob Canyon because I don't feel it anywhere, okay? And I'm doing videos because there's no Wi-Fi. You can't get it. Can't get a cell signal here. There was an SOS signal up at the top where I could have sent SOS out. So enjoying this reprieve because I got to go down into the city now. But I stayed in Beaver at a Best Western. I thought, well, there's not going to be too many towers there. But they had Wi-Fi available for everybody. They had Google Fiber, which is good. But the problem is Google Fiber also offers Wi-Fi in their routers, just like regular internet people offer Wi-Fi in their routers, so you don't have to hook up all the TVs. And so I just started feeling it. Ear pressure, it feels like your ears need to pop. It feels like when people talk to you, they're in a tunnel trying to talk to you, and you're feeling it just like very soft. It just kind of like you need to pop your ears, kind of like changing elevation. And so because when you travel, you have to kind of like yawn to pop your ears, and then you can hear better. And same thing if you get water in your ears. So pressure, I feel the pressure. I can hear a pitch talking to you guys right now because I've been around. I had to make a stop, checked out some zip kit homes, and that's a possibility, but it's more work. We have to find ground, buy it, and get it ready. But that's a possibility. Very high quality, done for Airbnbs. And I said, well, that's why I want to go tiny, because I would rather have quality than garbage, okay? And live small than have garbage. But it might not be possible, because we need turnkey ready by December. By December, pretty much. So I brought my grounding blanket, I don't know where it is, and my big copper bowl that I showed you a long time ago, just in case, because there's a frequency of copper that what I found, and nobody told me to do this. I just knew I needed more shielding under that tower because 5G, you need about 25 to 30 layers of aluminum foil or the EMF fabric you can get off Amazon. So anywhere from 25 to 30, and maybe even more, because sometimes they boost that energy way higher than what is about 180 times more powerful than 4G. So I grounded my blanket with the grounding plug in the room, and I could still feel stuff, but I started calming down, and I could feel the grounding, very calming, very peaceful. So it kind of counterweighted when I put propped up the bowl over my head with all the pillows. I was able to sleep really good last night. But then I'm like, okay, I have to get up and shower because I was getting woozy just being in the room when I was unpacking and stuff. So I go to the office and I say, is there a way to shut off the Wi-Fi into my room? So the guy was really nice. He came and flipped the switch and turned everything off except for the Google Fiber box. And so, because he's saying that the Wi-Fi is available, but from the office. And I'm like, well, Google Fiber, if you have a router in your room, which I had a big box plugged in my room, so I knew it was putting off powerful EMFs. And so I went ahead and unplugged that. And then I was able to get ready, shower and get ready, and didn't feel very much at all. It was way better. But I can tell you, this copper bowl has I've experienced enough through being there and being at the zip kit homes right by a tower and stuff that I have a little bit of it still a high pitch in my ears. And so when I'm talking to you, I can kind of hear a little pitchy, clicky stuff, but it's not bad at all. I'm still kind of functional. But I didn't go on the hikes, you know, because my adrenals don't let me do too much sweating. But that was a revelation to me, that a grounded blanket, it's a pretty nice grounded blanket. They're not cheap on Amazon, but they're a really good investment if you feel like you want to ground yourself. This is where Brigham Young comes in. I can tell you, when I first got sick with the mercury in my lungs, would have been 35, 36 years ago, 36 and a half, 37 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. Would have been 1989, because Andrew was turning 4 that year. So 1989 is when I got the mercury in my lungs that spring, March, and I was never the same. The fog was horrifying, and I felt creepy, weird, and out of whack, like somebody was obsessing me. So I learned and grew in the herbal industry because the doctor said I needed medication for it. Go seek counseling for it. Well, it was my heart, guys. It was my heart. It was not working well, but that's okay. I just started doing my own research, found an herbalist through my chiropractor. He said, you got to go here, it's important. So all of that brings me to today, the things that I've learned over the last 36, 37 years. There's a lot of things out there that people are doing to us on purpose. Food, water, bottled water, okay, microplastics, it's all coming out more and more. And the Nuremberg Code is now being used against mRNA. And they will go to jail or worse if they get caught doing it again. And that was RFK who announced that. So that is pretty exciting. We're moving forward with that. So I just feel like when you experiment on things and you do it long enough, you can kind of start figuring out where truth does come in. And this shielding blanket that was grounded brought me back to Brigham Young and the word of wisdom, which is what I studied when I first got sick with the mercury in my lungs. That's where I started, was the word of wisdom and the scriptures. I was going to follow the word of wisdom and the scriptures and then go out into the secular world and find information that would match with God's creation and with what the scriptures told us about what to eat, what not to eat, type of thing. In Brigham Young's discourse on the word of wisdom, he actually told the people, he said, since we moved to Utah and have all these nice homes and we're shut in all the time, we're much less healthy than we were when we were camping in tents. Okay? He says, always crack your window. You know, they were burning wood stoves probably back then and stuff, but still, he said, you're sealed off, crack your window, let the fresh air in. So that was really important. I was like, okay, this is really awesome. Then he tells us not to eat meat from cattle that are fed in feedlots, but to eat the meat from cattle that have been pasture fed. And they already found out. I was studying fitness and nutrition at that time, had a newsletter I was getting that was pretty famous for natural healing and ideas and things. And that newsletter said that feedlot cows are so stressed out and unhappy that those stress hormones settle in the meat, okay, in the muscle, in the meat. And so when we consume that, we are getting extra stress chemicals into our body. So I thought, wow, that was pretty profound for Brigham Young to figure that one out. And so then I would love to take you out and show you the view, but I'm barely hanging on to my battery life right now. So anyway, I thought to myself, okay, he's telling everybody since we got in these nice, warm, cozy homes, we're less healthy than they were when they were living in tents. And I thought, oh my goodness sakes, they were grounded. In the tents, they were grounded, okay? Because they didn't have floors in their tents. They were probably really good canvas tents with no floor. And so I thought that totally makes sense, because people were getting less healthy because they were not grounding themselves to the earth and discharging, because electricity did come to Utah. I'm not sure when, But still, if you don't get grounded, there's just a lack of connection to God's creation that most of our ancestors before modern society were doing on a regular basis. So that just came to me as I was marveling how much better I sleep with a grounded sheet underneath us, and I have grounded mats in the kitchen. All of this has helped me discharge enough to let the herbs work and to wear shielding. I've got a bunch of caps with me, and some of it wasn't enough because I spent so much time on the internet trying to find a place for us to live. I got sick over and over again, so I would have to stop, take a day off, and then I would just do a little bit. So I've been trying to limit what I'm doing so that I can stay healthy, because there is an energy shift here again, and I haven't had that for months. And so I've been using the iTarot wand again. I started this morning. I blew my hair dry. So I'm starting to use that again because that's what took the pain away last time. But I had to do it for about 2.5 years. At least 3 to 4 times a week, no less. And sometimes a lot more in the beginning especially. And so I love the iTarot wand for pain reduction and inflammation reduction. And so I'm back on that again to try to help make up the difference. Now I have to go to St. George and be in the city, and I'm hoping to find an Airbnb and look it up and make sure I'm not too close to anything. But I do know my copper bowl and my grounded blanket helps, and it's easy because if I'm grounded, then the copper bowl gets grounded, but I had an extra grounding sheet that I kind of touched to the inside of the bowl over my head, and then put it underneath the grounding blanket that I had, so that it was touching the metallic fabric that was plugged into the wall to discharge the energy. And it does feel good. You feel like little fuzzies when you have a grounding sheet underneath you. You can sleep much more relaxed. So I hope that this helps you. I just really felt like that revelation for what Brigham Young said about how everybody started getting a lot sicker when they went into their homes, okay? And that when they were in their tents, they were a lot more sturdy, a lot more healthy. And then just because they were grounded almost all the time. Sure, they had leather boots and leather soles on, most of them at that time. Leather, everything was leather, and leather grounds you because it's animal skin, okay? And they're grounded all the time. So eggs from chickens that get to touch the earth, pasture raised chickens, makes more sense that they have a lot more positive frequency in the eggs when they can do that. So love you guys. I miss being able to do stuff. I did buy a Wi-Fi cable in case I can stick that in a motel room and be able to at least hardwire, because I do get some EMF if I'm on for a long time, but I don't do too bad. So Kolob Canyon, great trip. Great trip here. Let's see, can I see? Where are you going? Yeah. Wonderful, beautiful view. Where's that big thing? Yeah, where is he? It's just been great to take this break. So I'm headed to St. George now. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. I will upload this and share it with you. But yeah, grounding. I'm really sold on it now. And I was getting the creepy crawlers in the motel room, pressure in my ears, starting to feel woozy in the eyes and stuff like that. And so our long COVID symptoms, the 5G, 4G, and the CV19er stingy thingy made it more contractable, with the graphene being receptive to receive tower signals. Okay, so take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you later and upload this later. Bye bye.